back to MLS Cafe. This is episode 2 of our new series. Today we will be talking about everything that's happened in this past week of Major League Soccer. And stay tuned because we will be joined with NYCFC's first ever homegrown and American talent. We love him. Fans love him. Around the league, they love him too. His name is James Sands, and the interview went great. So make sure you guys stay here so you can get the opportunity of hearing that.
I'm so excited, man. I feel like week 2 is even better than week 1.
Yes.
There wasn't as many bangers, but just the games itself were so intriguing, especially one with the LA Galaxy and Chicharito, which we're going to talk about later. But
what a comeback player. But again, we're going to talk about that. And you want to talk about goals. I want to talk about controversy. So much happened this past week, and I cannot wait to get into it.
Who spilt the beans?
Okay, who spilt the beans? You want to walk us in here with the first spiller of beans?
There's a lot of people that spilt the beans.
Yes,
you could call it a bean overflow because the first one was David Ochoa against Minnesota. David Ochoa for Real Salt Lake. First, he was time wasting a lot in that second half. He was on the ground, I would say, for half the game of the second half. And then after that, he goes and he has the audacity to punt the ball in the supporter section. That's a big no-no. You can't be doing that.
It's a major no-no. If you want to talk about major disappointment, that's major disappointment. I mean, what are you thinking? That is not a way to handle a situation. And I mean, you heard what Adrian Heath had to say about him.
Yeah, I mean, he had an earful. Let's actually go through that quote real quick.
Yeah, you have
Here's
it pulled up on yours, right?
He said, Adrian Heath, by the way, Minnesota's coach, he's got some edge on him. For a kid that's, wait for it, not that good.
Okay, you're calling one of your best players, in the eyes of many fans, in my eyes, I disagree with that. You're calling one of your players not that good. You're calling one of your guys not that good. That is a situation to be handled. That is a hot plate of facts, if I'm being honest.
Well, it was the opposing coach.
Yes, no, I know.
Yeah, which that's a big no-no. Again, he can't be doing that. What David Ochoa did was horrible, kicking the ball into the stands, but the coach can't be doing that, and talking about David Ochoa in that way.
I know, that's what I'm saying. It's a tough look. Just all around. But I think the biggest story from that match was what happened directly after the match. After David Ochoa sends that ball to the moon, it came back. And the fans were not having it. I mean, I'm talking about a brawl in the stands. A brawl in the holes, man.
The boomerang effect, it came right back at him, and there was a brawl after between both squads. Even the refs had to get involved.
Yeah.
It didn't get bloody, but it did get physical.
I mean, it might have gotten blurry.
Yeah.
It's been tough. It's been tough that night for sure. Moving on, the CCL happened this week, and then Caleb Porter sure was pissed.
He was very pissed. Again, there was a bunch of games this week, the quarterfinal games. And should I go through that same quote that he said?
Yeah, before we get to the quote, all we're going to say is we agree with this quote, and we have been saying this for the past week.
This is what he said,
Walk us in.
everybody. He said, it's absolutely ridiculous for CONCACAF to throw together VAR at the last second with referees that haven't used it and groups that have never worked together.
That's my biggest problem here. If you are using the VAR to determine outcomes of these huge games, especially for MLS, they're doing so well. Now you're going to bring in the VAR? Listen, I have no problem with the VAR. I'm a big VAR supporter, and I know you are too. But here's my problem. If you're using the VAR, just like he had said, make sure you're using it from the start or don't use it at all. How many outcomes of these games would have been changed? How many outcomes would have been different?
You need the consistency. There's no consistency.
Yes.
Again, round of 16, they didn't implement it. Now in the quarterfinals, they did implement VAR. And he even said to the refs weren't experienced, you need VAR veterans to get in charge of VAR, and they didn't.
Just looking at those games, I mean, thank God Columbus was able to tie it up there with Monterrey, or I guess vice versa now with this VAR. Toronto really blew the lid off here. I got to turn to Josie Altidore for that one.
Yeah, he
failing in
blame.
the second minute of that game. And Josie Altidore has definitely been hot potato for quite some time right now around the league. I mean, I know Toronto still loves him, but after that game, I'm not too sure.
Well, Toronto's just a weird team right now. First they beat Lyon, one of the best teams in the league, and the Yankees. Then they lose to Montreal 4-2. And now they lose to Cruz Azul 3-1. Last 2 games, major stoppages. So it's not looking too good for them.
You talked about consistency before. Where is the consistency for Toronto FC?
Again, they are injured. They do have a lot of injuries with Pozuelo, again, their creator in the midfield, their best player. Yeah, their best player. Same thing with Josie Altidore. Now he's back with Cruz Azul. But do you really want him back?
Josie Altidore's washed. We've been saying it for a long time. He's washed. And the fact that he still thinks he's like a starter is just unreal to me.
It's laughable,
It's laughable. I don't think he is anything special anymore. And years ago, I used to support Altidore big time. And it's just, it's a shame just seeing how his career and his personal life has really overtaken him. Well, it's his ego, I think, has just really flushed him out.
Well, yeah, he's kind of reminds me of Subban in that way in the NHL. You know, his ego is way too big. And he said Taylor Twellman's career was laughable. That game was laughable, man. You know?
It was. He was a disaster that entire game. I'm surprised he stayed on the pitch as long as he did. But again, you're saying there about injuries. Guess what, Toronto? There is a trend this year in Major League Soccer and even the CCL. Injuries. Everybody's injured, but teams are still showing up. You can't rely all on one player.
You can't use it as an excuse right now. And the last game as well in the CCL was Atlanta lost to Philly 3-0. Who saw that coming?
I'm still not buying into Philly. I know they won the Supporters Shield last season, and I still am not buying into them. But every time I put them down, they keep just riding over me.
Yeah, you know,
they keep proving me wrong.
Yeah, me as well. And with that, should we go into Mocha Madness Plays of the Week?
Let's transition into the next segment of MLS Cafe.
Mocha Madness Plays of the Week.
Okay, we are here in Mocha Madness Plays of the Week. Yes. There was 2 plays again. We always do 2 plays again, video and audio version. So right now, on the video version, you're going to see them pop up. The first one being, for me, Ezequiel Barco.
Oh my God, what a stone-cold stunner by Ezequiel Barco. We're going to pull it up right now so you guys can hear and watch it too. I've just been talking to everybody about this goal.
Look at this right here. You know, he tries, it hits the wall. Doesn't work the first time. Gets
it
again.
Back and sends it straight home.
Bar down. If there's 2 attendees in the net, he wouldn't have even saved it.
You can make a wall of bricks in front of that net, and that's still going in. Because it found that opening, and it was keen.
You can make a clone of Brad Guzan, have 2 of them. Hell, maybe even make 3 of them, you know. And cloning is actually viable right now. You know, they clone Dolly the sheep, so cloning is a viable option. But even then, there's no way they're going to save it.
Well, they cloned my homie Dolly like 20 years ago. I feel the CIA's definitely been cloning some people.
You think some...
for sure, man.
Humanoids?
Probably. Is that what they would be called? Humanoids?
Maybe. I just made that up.
I mean, think about it. How do you know you're not a clone?
Exactly.
We could all be in like this snow globe of effects on like some alien shelf.
Before we go too off topic, should we go to the second play?
Let's move on to the second play. My favorite one, Nani. Oh my God, Orlando City, have you been blessed with an amazing goal? In my opinion, this was better than Barco's. Look at that pizzazz. Look at that finesse. And look at that confidence that Nani shows. What a back heel that was. I was so happy he was able to send that one home. I mean, hey, I feel bad if you are a Sporting Kansas City fan, but hey, everybody appreciates some raw dog in there.
Dude, that's so good, man. I played the same clip, the same highlight from the same camera twice just because of how good it was, you know?
It was incredible. I've been watching it over and over and over and over again. And once I think I've seen it enough, I start watching it again.
Well, it was really the pizzazz that did it for me, you know? Like, the back heel was great, but the way that he did it, you know, he looked back, he did like that little shoulder shrug, you know? It was beautiful from Nani, and he got the goal. And I actually looked at VAR, too, for that same goal, and it was still called on. So I'm happy that did count.
Exactly, because if that didn't count, people would still be watching it. That's how amazing it was. But overall, Orlando did look good that game, too. They were leading in possession and shots. So it was just a clear victor.
Yeah, they looked amazing again against SKC. Again, it was only a tie, but, you know, they looked beautiful. They had a beautiful game, so.
That concludes our... plays of the week. So that brings us on to Americano Espresso.
Americano Espresso.
So there's a lot of big news in America right now for American players, not only players, but coaches as well. You know, the first one for me is Jesse Marsch. You know, the man of Red Bull Salzburg. Now he's rumored to be going to RB Leipzig in Germany because Nagelsmann is going to Bayern Munich. That has been confirmed. And I'm pretty sure, too, the moment of making this video, I think Jesse Marsch was just confirmed as the new manager of RB Leipzig, which is going to be gigantic.
Yeah, I mean, I was seeing something about that before. I didn't know if I was going to just bring that up. What do you think about that? Kind of wild, right?
Yeah, I feel great, man. You know, it's super patriotic. Again, we got the fireworks.
Patriotic is a perfect word for that right now.
We got the fireworks going right now, but I love it. You know, I feel like it's even a bigger move than Pulisic going to Chelsea because a manager to be respected. Again, I feel like the United States in soccer isn't really that respected, which there's still a long way to go. But with Jesse Marsch being, you know, the manager of such a big team in Germany and Europe in its entirety is huge.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, he was the second best Marsch in America next to Randy, and I think he's going to be a great addition for them over there.
I think so, too. It's going to be very interesting as well to see him, you know, he's coaching Tyler Adams, and probably Brendan Aronson in a couple of years is going to be moving over there as well. So there's going to be a ton of Americans in RB Leipzig probably, and then Caden Clark, too. You know, Caden Clark's probably going to be there next season. So,
But talking about cadence, what about Cade Cowell? What did you think about that? That was an amazing goal and an assist.
I would say the assist was better than the goal as well.
You know what? I would agree with you too. I don't even think that's a hot take. I think it's perfectly room temperature because, oh my God, what a stunner. What a play that was.
I did not think he had that in his locker. Just the assist to hit it with the outside of his foot, dude, to put them up as well. I think they put them up in the lead there 2-1.
Yeah,
obviously
the game ended San Jose 3-1.
Yeah,
over Dallas.
Yeah, the game ended 3-1. That assist though got them up 2-1. And the reason they won so single-handedly was because of Cade Cowell.
Yeah, I mean, the kid's going to have one hell of a future. I'm so happy to call him a fellow American.
And I keep forgetting he's only 17, dude. He's got the body of a Greek god, man.
Yeah, he's still a minor.
He's like Zeus' son out there, man. He's huge.
Yeah, I mean, he's looked incredible, and he's going to be great for the club, and he's going to have one hell of a career and future ahead of him.
And, bro, MLS Fantasy, only 4.9 points. Pick him up, bro.
I know. I'm going to need him. We're going to be talking about MLS Fantasy at the end of this, too, but we have a while until we get there.
Another American on the other side of that scoreline, Paxton Pomykal. Major disappointment. He didn't start again. He should be starting.
Yeah.
And should we go to the third Americano Espresso?
Yes, I think we should. Christian Pulisic. Oh, my God. I'm so happy again to call him an American. Talk about it.
Scores the dagger against Real Madrid. Obviously the game ended 1-1, but still, beautiful goal by him. He's a big-time player. I actually have some stats over here. He scored a goal in the FA Cup final against Arsenal. Obviously, he got injured, though, in that game, but still, he scored a goal. And then he was the man of the match against Porto in the UCL quarters, and he scored the winner against City that clinched Liverpool's title win. So he's a big-time player, and hopefully that translates to the World Cup, where we're going to win that in 2026.
Yeah, and talking about big-time players, I believe it's time to get to our guest of MLS Cafe today. Once again, NYCFC's homegrown James Sands killed it. Here is the interview now. Tell us what you guys think.
Currently, we are here with the first ever homegrown NYCFC history, also one of the youngest, brightest talents in the whole entire goddamn league, James Sands. How are you doing, man?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you as well. I guess without further ado, let's go straight into the questions. The first one being, a lot of players have, an idol they look up to. For me, it was Frank Lampard, which is fitting because I'm an NYCFC fan.
Both of
us.
Now,
for you, who was your idol, and did it really affect your style of play in any way?
I wouldn't say I had, one set idol growing up, because NBC bought the Premier League when I was little. I just started watching all those games. I think I will say I was a big Yaya Toure fan. I had his jersey when I was little, so I think that was my idol.
It's awesome to hear. And again, Yaya Toure kind of plays the same position as you, so it's fitting that he was your idol. Now, on to the second question. Being the club's first ever homegrown, we talked about this before. Do you feel, you have a lot on your shoulders here, Do you feel like you have to be a leader to, these young kids coming up through the ranks from the academy up to the first team? Any added pressure there?
I think a little bit, but it's, it's pressure I'm very open to having. I think being the first homegrown at such a, prestigious club like NYCFC is definitely a big responsibility, but, we have such talented academy players and young players that, while I am the first to do it, all the guys coming behind me are so talented that, they'll find a way. So, it's good to see them all coming through now. I think our last game, we had 3 homegrowns on the field. So it's nice to see for sure.
Yeah, we're going to be getting into that in a little bit as well. I mean, that game, we'll get into that right now. That game the other day against FC Cincinnati, that was what, 5-0, right?
Big game, yeah.
And that's such a huge win after, starting the season after the loss of captain Alexander Ring. A lot of fans were saying the team is going to look misguided, but winning 5-0 against FC Cincinnati, second game of the season, that's not just a 1-0 win. That is a big win, let alone the shutout too for Sean Johnson, new captain. With that being said, going into the season, what would you say is the most aspiring and underlying and underrated too layer of NYCFC?
I think it's just, the consistency that we've had. I think, I don't know what the stats are exactly, but, over the past 4 years, we've gotten more points than any other team in MLS. And I think that alone speaks for itself. The criticism, which is fair, that we've gotten is we haven't won anything. And I think that, gives a lot of motivation to this year's current team. And, I think it's also a challenge for some younger guys to step up with the loss of, you mentioned Alex Ring and Mocha. So I think it's a motivated group and a group that wants to win something for sure.
I agree. And like you said, most points in the last couple of seasons, and you guys get criticism for not winning anything. You got to think each season, there's only one team that's going to win it all. Having a great regular season, is an achievement in its own. And hopefully this season, you can go all the way. But like you're saying, these past couple of seasons since NYCFC has entered the league have been phenomenal, at least for me on the fans' end.
And also, just to chime in with that game, I think every single goal was off a set piece. So has that been something you guys been training in practice or anything like that under Ronnie Dyla?
I mean, it's something we've always had a focus on, and we've got such good set piece takers. You saw the goal that Goody scored off the free kick, and the delivery on the set pieces, all that. I think it's an area of the game improve.
No, yeah, I agree 100%. Oh, sorry. I thought I lost you for a second there. You can keep going if you were going.
No, no.
Sorry, I lost you there for like half a second. It sounded like you stopped. But with that being said, as fans as we are, as we keep saying, of NYCFC, we were beyond thrilled, and we speak on behalf of all the fans of the club when you signed that 5-year extension with us a couple months ago. How easy was it to sign that extension, and what does it mean to you to represent New York City, especially once again being a homegrown?
Yeah, I mean, it's not an easy thing to sign a 5-year contract. It's a big deal, and you got to put a lot of thought into it. But I understand what New York City wishes for me, and the goals they have for me, and it aligned with my own goals. So I feel comfortable making that step with them, and I think they can really help me achieve my goals, and I can help them win a trophy.
Yeah, I mean, That's a great club to be a part of. And that's not even from us just being a fan. I mean, like you were saying, back to that stat, most points in the last couple of seasons. And like you said, they have your best intentions because you're going to have one hell of a career ahead of you. I mean, every site you're looking at, the up and coming American players right now, your name is just on the list every time. And again, still talking with NYCFC, back to the captain, former captain, after the departure of Alexander Ring. This opens up a new position for you now. This is a lot more weight on your shoulders going into the season, got big shoes to fill. Do you feel like any more stress coming into the season that's going to rally you play at all? Or is this just another game by game day?
I think I just got to take it game by game. It's definitely more responsibility. I have to step up and help be that leader. But it's not something I'm stressed about. I think, I've earned the position on the team that I have right now. And, it's just about making the most of every opportunity.
Talk about you, we talk a lot about you as a player. Let's talk about you more as a person. On the pitch, you're very calm, cool, and collected, very composed. You never rattle on the ball or anything like that. Now, off the field, would you say you're different, or would you say you're the same as your player on the field?
I would say it's more or less pretty similar. I'm just a serious person by nature, but I think, some of my close friends would say that, I'm pretty easygoing. I think it just takes a while for me to, open myself up to people. So I come across as very serious and all that, but, I think some of my friends would say, that I'm, friendly than I may seem.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same way on that.
And with that being said, I mean, being a serious person, I mean, if anything, that gets the job done. Like again, on the pitch, you never really see yourself making a careless pass. Everything is well thought out, and that's the reason, as you were saying before, you earned your position on the field and on the team, and that's why. I mean, having that mentality on and off the pitch is one of the greatest aspirations you can have as a player.
Yeah, for sure.
Exactly. Now, you're a very versatile player as well. You can play as a center defensive mid, as a center back. Hell, you can probably play as a number 8 as well, or maybe even a number 10. Who knows? So now, with that being said, is there any positions that you feel more, I guess, comfortable or confident in?
No, I like playing both because as a young player, it gives me more opportunities to get on the field. So I really enjoy playing both just as much. I think it's interesting that all 3 coaches I've had with NYCFC up to this point have, changed their mind at some point about my best position. So, if they can't make up their mind, it's hard for me to say which one I'm better at. So, for now, I'll keep playing both.
And now, growing up, did you start as like a center back or as a center defensive mid, or what did you play growing up?
When I was young, like U14 maybe, like up until then, I played all center midfield. And then as I started to play more with the national team and, the under 17s, I started to play more center back. And then since then it's been back and forth. So.
Awesome.
Now, another personality question, because those are the ones I find the most fun to ask. Me, I'm a very superstitious person. If it's Friday the 13th, I'm calling out of work. I'm not going anywhere. If I see a ladder, I'm not walking under it. I have a cat. It's not black. With that being said, before the game, do you have any pre-game rituals or superstitions that you have of your own? Some people maybe tie a certain shoe first or shake only one person's hand before the game. Everyone's got something different. Do you have any of your own, or is there any other guys in the locker room that have their own pregame ritual or superstition rather?
Yeah, I would say I don't have that. I'm not so superstitious. I think most of the guys have, a certain way that they, tie their shoes or tape their socks, that they just do every game. I don't know if that's a superstition. But I don't know if we have any weird ones in the locker room, to be honest. No, I can't think of any at the moment.
No, that's totally good. And that kind of brings me to, I believe, what would be the final question. Again, and this doesn't even have anything to do with soccer. It's just something curious because you're from New York. I'm from New York as
Yeah.
well. In Rye Playland, I believe it's called. It's the amusement park up there.
Yeah.
I think I went once when I was a little kid. I have a picture, but I don't remember it at all. But I know everyone that lives in Rye it's like a cult following. Everyone, if you live there, you've been to Rye Playland, and it was closed for COVID, but it's currently, I believe, in the process of reopening. I'm again from being from Rye, New York. I'm assuming you've been there, and are you excited to get back on there?
Yeah, I have been there. I went a lot more when I was like a little kid, for like birthday parties and stuff. It was always the thing to go to Playland or whatever. I haven't been as much recently, COVID and everything, and during the season it's busy. But all the international guys on our team that moved to New York and they're looking for places to live, whenever they look at Rye, they always ask me about Playland. So
Yeah.
it's funny to see what they think of it.
Yeah, once you guys win the cup this year, which I'm hoping, celebrate a Playland amusement park,
Yeah, right?
We'll go to Playland.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that'd be great, right?
Now, with that being said, that was actually the last question. Is there any thoughts or anything coming up this upcoming season that you want to talk
anything
about?
from you?
No, I think it's just about, being consistent. That's the biggest thing for me as a young player and, as a team that wants to win something. It's about, being consistent every game you play and every opportunity. So I think, that, I'm really excited for the rest of the year.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's hoping it's going to be a great season, including me and obviously you guys. So hopefully that's what we get. I mean, after that win this past weekend, I mean, wow, that was phenomenal. I mean, I was so happy. And again, as we were saying before the interview, we did have Andres Jason on. I was so happy for him to see him record a point. And that was just a team win. It just seemed like everyone chipped in and played their part.
Yeah, well, hopefully we got some more of those coming.
Yeah,
Let's hope.
I hope so.
Again, this was James Sands. A pleasure to have you on. Thank you again for coming on to MLS Cafe.
Yep.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Major Stokeage.
Hope you guys liked that interview again with James Sands. Now we're in Major Stokeage. You want to take them through level 1?
Yes, level 1 of Major Stokeage.
Stoked.
Okay, very stoked. High levels of stoke right now. The MLS opening weekend was insane, and it averaged around 500,000 viewers, which I believe from last weekend, it was up 50 to 55%. That's a huge number for a league that is always expanding.
I'm not a statistician, but if I had to say, that's a big number, 50 to 55%.
That's a tremendous number. And not only are they expanding, the one thing I want to see that also rises right now is the salary cap. I want to see that go up by 50 to 55%.
It's got to, no, maybe even more than 50 to 55%.
200%.
It's got to be, for me, I feel like get rid of the TAM rule, get rid of the DP rule, get rid of all of that, and just make it a hard salary cap of like 25, 30 million. I feel like that's the best way to go about things.
I agree 100%. And I believe that takes us into level 2.
Major Stokeage, guys.
Some hot ones here.
Which, again, the window's still open. The transfer window is still going on. There's been a couple of new signings. 2 of them have been gigantic. One of them from Minnesota being Adrian Huno. I think that's how you pronounce his last name, correct?
Huno. I'm not too sure.
Who knows?
Oh, there you go. Perfect.
Jinx,
Awesome.
you owe me a Coke.
I was liking that.
But yeah, he comes from Adrian Huno. He comes from Stade Rennais in France, the Frenchman himself. And he's a very versatile player as well. He can play as a winger. He can play as a striker.
Yes.
So Minnesota's attack looks super deadly this season.
Great addition.
They have Abia, again, a new signing this year coming from Boca Juniors. Now they have Hano, they have Reynoso, and they have Lod. That's one of the best attacks in the league, and they really need it too because after those 2 losses, one against Seattle losing 4-0, and then losing against this past weekend to Real Salt Lake. Who loses to Real Salt Lake, man?
I mean, I'm not trying to say anything, but I am saying something. Talk about irrelevancy. You don't want to lose to that club.
Exactly.
It's tough. Utah? Utah you lost against? Come on, pull it together. This is a good team, and again, no disrespect, but this is a good team. You can't be having those games. That's why this is a great addition for them. And talking about great additions, let's talk about Salcedo. I'm so excited to see him join the Major League Soccer community.
Jefferson Salcedo, man. The Santos man himself, bro. I'm literally, my shoulders are moving right now. I'm so excited talking about this guy.
Shimmy. It's a huge signing. It's a huge, not only addition for a team that has been plagued with injuries, as we were saying before, but this is a huge addition to Major League Soccer in general. These are the signings the league has to continue to make.
He's only 23 years of age from Venezuela. Again, Toronto. They need a playmaker right now, especially with Pozuelo out. Now, just imagine Jefferson and Pozuelo on the field at the same time. Now, that's a scary thought to think about for sure.
Exactly. Another scary thought transitions into the second leg of second meter on Stoke meter.
The Major Stokeage.
Yeah, we have to figure out what to call it.
Again.
Oh, man. Okay. Inter Miami coming back from being 1-0 to 2-1 against Philly.
What a comeback, man. That's one of the craziest comebacks I ever saw in my life. You know, again, Philly was in the driver's seat for basically the whole entire game up until the 75th minute. Then Phil Neville makes a very risky substitution here. You know, he puts out Rodolfo Pizarro, your main man in the middle, your creator, and he puts on Federico Higuain, you know, a man past his prime, kind of washed up if you ask me, and he worked wonders out there, man.
Okay. You're talking about risk, high reward. They made literal history. Him and his brother. Oh my God. What a game that was. What a roller coaster of emotions, most of them being happy.
Exactly. You know, he comes on Federico Higuain. He assists his brother. And then to put the cherry on the icing on the cake, he scores a goal himself with a header, bro. You know, who would have saw that happening? Federico Higuain being the hero of basically this week in my favorite game this week as well.
And not even was it the best game, in my opinion. It was the most emotional game. I mean, the way they embraced each other after those goals were scored. I mean, it was just such a feel-good game. I mean, unless you're the other team.
Well, there's one fantastic game I want to talk about leading us into Ultimate Stoke.
Level 3, baby.
Again, New York City FC. Playing amazing. First losing to DC opening weekend 1-0, and then showing the world, you know, we still got it. Winning 5-0 against FC Cincinnati at Yankee Stadium, dude. What a game, man. What an absolute game. Again, all the goals coming off set pieces, corner kicks, free kicks, all that. We definitely been training those in practice for sure.
I think so. They had to have. I mean, like you said, all the goals. What a way to win a game in such a distinct fashion. I mean, the team overall looked incredible. Last week on MLS Cafe, the debut episode, we had New York City's FC's newest homegrown, one of them at least, Andres Jason. He was on, and he actually had his debut during this game, and he got a point. So far, he's looking like a point-per-game player, and I'm hoping he can continue being that guy.
Exactly. Just with New York City FC, you know, talking about them, I feel like their academy is so underrated. You know, so many good homegrowns coming through the system. We got Justin Hack, we got James Sands, Tyvon Gray. We got so many good homegrowns coming through, and we're just not really respected in that regard where we should be. And in my opinion, right now, I feel like our academy might be the best in New York or New Jersey, if you count the Red Bulls as a New Jersey club.
New Jersey, for sure. Definitely tri-state, but still Jersey. Even though we're sharing stadium. But talking about stadiums, you want to give this news about, news if you want to call it more like a rumor, a very small rumor. But let's talk about NYCFC and their stadium news.
Yeah, let's talk about it. So there was some tweets happening this past weekend, or actually this past week, about us actually potentially getting a new stadium. So this is what's happening, guys. Mad Equities, has a proposal to buy a portion of the Bronx parking development lease near Yankee Stadium. Okay. So basically, they're going to clear the land there. We're
Three words: clear the land. Focus on that.
We're hoping they're going to clear that land and, you know, maybe create a stadium on top of that plot. So
exactly.
That's what we're looking forward to. But then it is kind of bittersweet. You know, at the same time, I do want a soccer-specific stadium. But Yankee Stadium, bro, one loss in 2019. Fantastic playing in that fortress. And you saw, again, 5-0 against FC Cincinnati. We're basically undefeated, you know, Fort Never Lose inside those brick walls, or should I say concrete walls.
And Fort Never Lose, that is a term and a reference that's thrown out a lot here in New York.
Exactly. You know, it just makes, because Yankee Stadium, the small field dimensions and the weird sight lines, teams just can't cope with it.
It's not nice. It's not nice going to Yankee Stadium. I mean, everybody even liked it better when they were playing in City Fields where the Mets play.
It's just, you know, when you're
better
playing
experience.
There, if you're an opposing team, you better pack your, you know, your bags up with a loss, because you're going to be losing, bro.
Yeah, unless you're that one team. But yeah, that's the thing. Moving on, there's a couple other names that we have to talk about here.
Should we go to Ultimate Stokeage again?
Yes.
Let's hit it. Ultimate Stokeage, guys. That crazy game, man. LA Galaxy, Red Bulls, Chicharito with a goddamn Hatty, bro.
God. I mean, that was insane. I mean, talk about legendary. This guy had, one goal all last season, and he comes in this season. He gets 2 his first game, almost had a hat trick. Second game comes out, and he gets that hat trick. 5 goals in 2 games. I mean, he's quintuple the size of what he was last year. I don't even know if that's a word, but that's just how hyped I am for LA. The Battle of Los Angeles right now between Carlos Vela, even though he's been injured, injured, I guess, and Chicharito has been a roller coaster of emotions.
Yeah, right now, there's one true king in LA, and that's Chicharito. Carlos Vela, move aside, move out of that throne, and Chicharito, sit in that throne, baby. Sit on that goal because you were looking spectacular. Again, 5 goals in 2 games. Fantastic performances all around. And LA Galaxy right now, undefeated on the year with 2 wins.
And this is what you needed to see from Chicharito. Everybody was on this case last year, including us, but, he did have a lot going on in his personal life. Joking aside, a couple of deaths. He was having some relationship issues, and there was just a lot of pressure on his back. After Zlatan departing, I mean, that's a lot of weight to carry, and it was definitely buckling him down at the knees, which is why he had only scored 1 goal that season. And now this season, 5 goals, 2 games. Absolutely fantastic.
Well, now there's even more weight on his back. He is carrying this team to win after win.
Oh my God, yeah.
He is dominating right now. And
star player.
He is, again, we thought he might have flopped again this year. He looks to be the comeback player of the year, an early candidate for that award.
Yes, and I'm hoping he is, because honestly, I'm loving it right now.
You know what I'm not loving?
This next segment.
Let's hit it.
Major disappointment.
Okay, the first level 1 of the disappointment meter. Nashville's defense. What the hell happened to them?
This was disappointing in a lot of ways.
A lot of aspects. Flip-flopped. A team that used to be so defensively sound now is scoring goals. Their offense is now better. I mean, you can't do that. Defense wins championships, in my opinion. I've always said that. Defense and depth. And now you're a team that has just completely forgot how to defend.
Yeah, they were once the 3rd best defense in the league last season, back in 2020. Now they're one of the worst defenses, conceding 2 goals back-to-back in Nashville. God. That's just unacceptable. And on paper, too, their defense is the exact same. Nothing changed, but yet it's different performances. So
if you're a Nashville fan, I'm not, but if you are a Nashville fan, wow. Time to get nervous. It's early, but you want to do something now before this game gets away from you. This year, rather, as you were saying.
It's a hard nut to crack. I don't know the real problem here. Again, you got Johnston, Zimmerman, Romney, and Lovitz in the back, which on paper looks super solid, but they just conceding goals left and right here. First to FC Cincinnati, not one of the best teams in the league, and now to Montreal, not one of the best teams in the league, in my opinion, as well. So they got to do something different, I feel, in order for them to get the dubs in the future.
The team, in my opinion, almost looks unconditioned, a little outpaced and a little outpracticed.
And actually, dude, I have a pretty alarming stat here. Let me just ring it off, dude.
Of course, hit me with it.
They only conceded 9 goals last season at home. And only 22 goals conceded in total. This season, bro, already 4.
Yeah, and it's been 2 games.
Exactly,
That's not even acceptable.
That is cold, man. That is extremely cold.
Okay, and that brings us on to level 2 on the disappointment meter.
Disappointment?
Yeah, New England and DC United game. Yeesh.
It was just a boring game again.
Snooze fest.
There was only, how many shots on target? 3 shots on target in total between both teams. And the goal that happened again, New England did win this game 1-0. But the one goal that did get past the goaltendee, Turner, was an own goal from Heinz Ike. Or actually not Turner, Bill Hamid.
Yes.
As DC United conceded. My bad, guys.
I mean, 3 shots from both teams. Not 6 shots, not like they scored 3, we scored 3. No, 3 shots shared equally between both teams the entire game, and then the one goal scored as an own goal. Imagine going to, watch, last season, you're sitting at home, you're on the couch, I can't wait to go back to games. COVID's been tough, I can't wait. You finally go back, and that's the game you get. I'd be so mad. I'd be so sad. Are you kidding me?
Exactly. Spending your hard-earned time there, spending some tickets, getting, which actually the one thing Major League Soccer, the tickets are super cheap, so that's a good thing. But again,
they are
you're
rising.
Spending your money, and you see a game that's only an own goal. That's your only glimpse of entertainment in that shadow of a game,
That's a major disappointment in its own, which brings us to level 3 on the disappointment meter.
Well, really quickly, just going back to that game, I got to talk about Bruce Arena's decision here.
Oh, okay, of course. Sorry.
First, that formation, a 4-2-2-2, it looked like. Very weird.
A lot of twos. Too many, you could say.
I only see that in FIFA. I don't see that in games. And then also, Tajon Buchanan starting on the bench.
You got to start the kid. I don't know how many more times we have to say this. This is your starter. Buchanan is the starter. I mean, the kid is a cannon.
The thing is, too.
And you've had him on the bench this season, around the league. I feel there's so many starters not starting.
Yeah, I
And
feel
we're
like
talking about that in MLS Cafe 1.
Bruce said, too, that he's going to be starting as a more left winger, not as a left back. But he's not even starting the kid. He's rotting away on the bench. And if he started, it probably would have been way more goals.
I mean, I would think so.
And
it would have made for a more exciting game. A couple maybe great stories to tell, but no, that's the game that you had. And that's why you're on the disappointment meter. Week 2.
Should we go to the major
Yes, here we
disappointment?
go. Sorry, I forgot about that. Level 3.
Should you want to hit them with it?
Oh, man, ESPN, what are you doing? Those power rankings? Are you kidding me? Listen, if you thought the LA Galaxy was too high, placing at number 1, wait until you see who's in number 2. The Seattle Sounders.
Yeah, I know. They're still number 2 after coming off a tie against LAFC.
Mm-hmm.
This shouldn't be happening again. It's all a gimmick, bro. These power rankings.
Yeah.
They don't make any sense. They never
They got
made
to be
any
paid
sense.
off. They got to be paid off. Take it to VAR.
Yeah, take these power rankings to VAR because they make absolutely no sense, dude. LA Galaxy, again, they are hot right now. But it's too soon to tell if they're a number 1 team,
Yeah.
They're just drinking that Chicharito Kool-Aid, and it does taste good for them as
Yeah,
they're getting those ratings and they're getting those viewerships.
He's the number 1 player right now in the league. I mean, he's killing it, but is they a number 1 team? I don't think so. Is they? Jesus Christ. I mean, are they a number 1 team? I don't think so. He's been great, but the rest of the team,
But that's what we said before. When Chicharito's doing good, the whole entire league's doing good just
they
because
love
of
it.
viewership. There's so
they're gonna
many
ride it out.
There's so many Mexican Americans in the United States that just watch Major League Soccer for the Mexican players. So when Chicharito's bagging in a couple goals every single game, you best believe that these ratings are going sky high, man.
You best believe.
And that's part of the reason why you said, right, 50 to 55% increase.
Increase since last season. Isn't that incredible? Like, just as an MLS fan, sit back, relax, watch the ratings go up. How nice is that?
Exactly.
I think
and
it's
when,
awesome.
When the league grows, we grow. So let's hope it keeps
exactly.
growing.
Exactly. Also, and talking about growing, before we get into the last segment, one thing I do want to say, typically right now we would have another interview either with a player, another content creator, or a viewer or fan. But this time we only had the one interview with James Sands. And we actually have, for the next upcoming episodes, a lot of new segments planned. So if you guys watch our videos on the YouTube channel, maybe you'll have a couple hints of what that is. Somebody knows what it is right now. And we're really looking forward to doing that. With that being said, last segment of the episode.
MLS Fantasy.
The one I'm looking most forward to, I would say, MLS Fantasy. Me personally, I kind of dropped a couple deuces.
You dropped a couple deuces. My whole team's just a giant deuce.
Well, you forgot to drop a deuce, bro.
Yeah, I forgot to drop a deuce, man.
Didn't change that lineup, right?
It's tough, bro.
You forgot to change that lineup.
2 weeks in a row, I didn't change my lineup. Half my team is injured. If it's Iko Para, if it's Pozuelo, I mean, my whole team.
Let's see what we
Ladero,
did.
Vela, Rossi, my whole entire team is injured. And everyone laughs at me for having Iko Para on my team. Listen, I know he's injured. I never really meant to have him. I put him on originally. And I was like, oh, he's injured. I got to take him off. But I never did. And we've been so busy over here, I keep forgetting to change it. And I was going to change it Friday, but I got stuck at work. Next thing I know, the game's going on. And now I'm stuck one more weekend. But somehow I did get a win in MLS Fantasy.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Let's go, boys.
You're 1-0-1. That's actually pretty good.
Yeah,
and speaking of Eko Para, do you think he's ever going to come back? His career has been plagued with concussions.
No, I think it might be over. I think we're looking at retirement. And it's not a sad thing. I mean, he has a great career and maybe go out with a bang.
Exactly. Let's look at the top 10 real quick. Again, MLS Fantasy, this is the Bench Kings Cup.
Mm-hmm.
There will be a legit trophy that we will have,
Yes,
so that's going to
prizes
be
and
pretty
awards
sick.
too. We love giving things out.
Right now, currently, Jones is in first place, like a Columbus Crew fan. And again, I forgot how substitutions worked. I had all my best players on my bench, and they got no points. So
Yep, which is huge for everybody else. But that's definitely a major L on your side, bro.
I'm just going back to my first strategy where I have all my good players playing in the starting 11 and then just all, 4-mil dudes just sitting on the bench.
I mean, it's really been a roller coaster right now in the MLS Fantasy League. We have a lot of you in there with us. And I'm really curious to see who's going to be taking it this year.
Me as well. There's a lot of big names. Again, we have someone from it's not even in English. Is that South Korean or something?
I can't see it where I am.
Well, we got somebody definitely not a native of the United States, currently in second place, an Austin fan. And speaking of Austin, bro, that one game against Colorado, again, a crazy comeback, winning that game 3-1.
Oh, yeah. Let's talk about that first, and then we'll end the show here.
Yeah.
Second game ever played, first win. Happy to see it. Congratulations, Austin, for looking like a very solid team already. We are NYCFC fans, as you guys know, and if you didn't, well, now you know. Alexander Ring, you have him. We love him. We miss him. Take care of him.
Well, yeah, this season, I feel like Alexander Ring has been one of the best, consistently best players, I would say, in the last 3 years.
Yeah.
And then also, Austin, we said Cecilia Dominguez has to have a big game. He finally does. He scores 2 goals in like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Insane. So, Austin, good job for you. You got your first win.
Yeah.
Diego Fagundes scored the first goal in history. That's
I
an
really
historic
wanted it
win.
to be Pochettino. I really wanted it to be.
Well, you saw Pochettino. He couldn't actually start because there was some trouble, but now they got it all resolved. So
Thank
he should
God.
be starting this weekend.
Hey, regardless, as we were saying, second game ever played, first win. I like it. I'm happy.
I like it too. Colorado is the absolute dumpster fire right now.
Yes, they are. And they have no reason to be. They have no reason to be. Colorado, this is the best you've looked in so long. Come on, pull it together.
Yeah, Colorado's not looking too good.
Yeah.
Again, one of our biggest fans, Isaiah. Bro.
I'm
sleep
sorry,
tight.
Isaiah. Isaiah, if you're watching or listening to this right now, I'm sorry, bro.
And with that, I think that was the second episode of MLS Cafe.
Yes, we were joined with James Sands, NYCFC's first ever homegrown. He was great, and we will see you guys next week. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Adios, Kings.
Yep, have a great rest of the day.